I'm still reeling. Kelly's still reeling from the absolute unbelievable experience, production, inspiration that was this last weekend's UFC fight card.
It was the best production I've ever seen. And honestly, I was prepared for it to be a complete dumpster fire. And it could not have been the opposite. One thing that I really appreciated that came through really strongly at the event was just like the support for our troops and first responders. For me, it felt being there physically, outside of the news and everything around it and all of the talk, it felt like a very bipartisan event that was there for, you know, promotion of these amazing fights and celebration of our fucking amazing troops.
You didn't hear any, it was hot or it was windy or it was rainy or the bugs or the lights or whatever. You heard none of that. I didn't notice a fucking thing. It was unreal. The weather held out, zero hiccups on the broadcast. Fight night, dude, was flawless. Absolutely flawless. Welcome back, everybody. Rear Naked Truth podcast. We're here post UFC 250 Freedom. We were in attendance. We were in DC live. We were at the presser. We were at the ceremonials. We were not at the fight because there were lotteries for both, and much to our disappointment, we didn't get to go to the goddamn fight. But I will say that, you know, given some of the delays in getting drinks and, you know, gear and merch and everything, we were totally fine watching it at Tom's Watch Bar, which now has become our official
go-to watch bar.
Go-to watch bar when we're in Vegas, when we're in DC. We've also watched it in...
We've been to Tom's Watch Bar in Denver, but we didn't watch the fight.
We didn't watch the fight. We went to Kamozi's post-fight party there. But we're here. It is Thursday. I'm still reeling. Kelly's still reeling from the absolute unbelievable experience, production, inspiration that was this last weekend's UFC fight card. Abridged fight card, 7 versus 14, didn't matter. 0 decisions, 7 finishes. God, what in a sentence, what was your experience?
It was the best production I've ever seen. It was the best production I've ever seen. And honestly, I mean, we talked about this before the fight, just given the weather and the security and all of the planning and logistics that went into this event, I was prepared for it to be a complete dumpster fire. Like to the point where I thought maybe there's going to be like a Fire Festival documentary about this and how terrible it went. And it could not have been the opposite. It was, I mean, Dana White, genius, his operations team, just genius, down to like the things logistically that you wouldn't even think to be planning around. I mean, putting cell towers in so everyone had cell service, so if there was an emergency, they could get the alerts. I mean, it was just perfection. I have no other word for it. Like my MMA fighter brain can't wrap itself around not only the production of it, but it wasn't an overhyped card. Like the card was fucking amazing.
The card fucking delivered. The weather held up. Yes, there were bouts of rain and storms. We were at the presser on Friday night. The two of us with Dustin and Kayla, we were there. And I'd like to make a shout out to myself that I called that the storm cell that was coming in that delayed the presser by an hour and a half totally split over the Lincoln Memorial. And
Weatherman Mike.
Yes, fucking meteorologist Mike here. First, yep, it's not going to rain. It fucking didn't rain. It didn't. And I was very excited for that.
It rained a little bit. There was some wind. There was some lightning. But the storm cell, you know, the severe weather alert was definitely a little bit
disconcerting.
Yeah.
To you. The only thing disconcerting to me was the bystander in a police jacket walking around with what looked like an M6, I would say. It was an automatic machine gun. Looked like he had too many the night before. The way he was handling his weapon, the way he was walking and stumbling, the glazed over look in his eye. Freaked out a little bit. Dustin and I actually went and talked to a U.S. Marshal. Whole thing actually turned out to be clear. Kelly said that apparently this guy made the comment that, you know, the U.S. Marshals or law enforcement occasionally hires a bad apple. But outside of that, Never seen a stronger presence of armed forces, of law enforcement. Who did we have? We had the U.S. Marshals.
Homeland Security was there.
National Guard.
The National Guard was there.
Metropolitan Police.
The
DEA.
Park Service was there. The DEA was there.
Soldiers and law enforcement everywhere.
Yeah, it was. And it felt really, like, honestly, I was a little bit nervous just given the temperature of
the political
climate. But it felt secure. It felt safe.
There were no fights, and there was, honestly, this is the weirdest thing, that there was far less like puffing of the chest. You know, you go to any mixed martial arts event, any combat sports event, you're always going to see hardos walking around who don't fight, who think that they could fight, and then in fact do fight in the stands and ruin the spectator's experience to a degree. Zero of that. And even in the Ellipse, we were in the Ellipse Saturday. We spent the entire day there. We weren't there for the Zac Brown band thing. It did have this vibe of like a country music concert, which, you know, in essence, it kind of did at the end of the night. But we were there all day. The hardest thing to deal with, in my opinion, was the fucking humidity.
Very humid.
What I'm not built for that kind of. I felt like if I had an ice cream scooper, I could have ate the humidity. It was so intense. That on top of the fact that, you know, I'm battling some new gout medication, which means I couldn't fucking walk anywhere, at least correctly. You know, thank DC for the Lime scooters, because that really saved our life.
Yeah, I'm going to give Lime a little bit of free advertising here, but they were amazing. We scooted everywhere.
Everywhere.
If they could bring some scooters to the western suburbs of Chicago, that would be fantastic. Literally, I think we didn't go anywhere without scooters.
No. And I found the bikes, and there are city bikes or divvy bikes in Chicago. Nobody rides them, so I kind of feel like a frittata when I get on them, even though like the last couple of days going into the loop, I could have used them. But regardless, the scoots, the bikes, the transportation was sick. Actually,
it was just cool being in the downtown mall. So like, I grew up in DC, and I'm there a lot for work.
You were there on Wednesday before.
Yeah, I was there for a while before the event, there for work. And, you know, whenever I'm there, I never really get the chance to experience the mall as a tourist does. And even growing up, you know, we never really did that. And it was cool. It was cool to be scooting around, have the roads closed, be able to just zoom, get a little breeze relief from the humidity, and just see all of the monuments, be amongst our friends. It was honestly like a really fucking cool experience.
Kelly and our crew did a little bit of like, you know, the federal buildings tour for a minute, and I couldn't really do the walking at the time, so I took a scooter through like the middle of 12th, 13th, and 14th Street, and
straight down Pennsylvania Avenue.
Straight down Pennsylvania Avenue. They were all closed. They were gated off, but they let these people on Lime scooters through, and I was definitely one of them, and I was just flying up and down them, like just gazing up, you know, looking at all this beautiful architecture, looking at all the people. I mean, had to be for that event 500,000 more, maybe, people there.
It was huge. I thought with the weather,
felt like Lollapalooza-ish.
It was wild. Just like, and also just everyone was so, to your point about like not having the, you know, the typical like chest bump, everybody puffed up. Everyone was just sort of in awe of
they were taking
the
it
fact
in
that it was happening, the experience, like really feeling like it was a special moment. It was fucking cool.
I think that, you know, I'm not going to dive into this for more than a minute or two, but like obviously we mentioned a second ago, the political climate around this event in its entirety obviously has people on both sides of the fence, wherein there's a lot of people who are like, this could be one of the most unique and historic sporting events, you know, at the semi-bicentennial. Is that what we're referring to 250 as? Forgive me if I messed up the nomenclature of that, but the 250th anniversary of the country celebrating, which it was, and we'll dig into that in a second. And then on the other side of that, there were people who obviously were like, our federal government needs to be spending dollars on X, Y, and Z. And I think that all those arguments are actually fundamentally sound. I just think that like we went there because we are MMA fans. We are within the fight community. This takes up every Saturday and now occasionally a Sunday of our weekends. And for that alone, it was unreal. I don't think I saw any like acts of aggression, any brawls.
In the cage.
Other than the cage, of course, which we're going to dig real deep into. But the entire experience was like everyone was appearing to be so grateful for being there. Us at the top of that list. I mean, we've been to a lot of fights. We've been to several this year. We've been out of the country this year for fights. And that topped everything. And I'm just wondering if this hangover of the experience in DC is ever going to subside. Like, what is going to top that? UFC makes a model of topping themselves, but I don't know.
I mean, when you think about the Sphere, everyone said, how are they going to top that? And then the White House got called out. I mean, I just don't even know like what Dana White can come up with, but I know he's in the business of topping himself. And we don't try and get political on this, even though, personally we do have our opinions, but that is neither here nor there for this show. I will say one thing that I really appreciated that came through really strongly at the event was just like the support for our troops and first responders and, just the folks who day in and day out are there, supporting us as civilians, as part of this country, and as a military brat, someone who grew up in the DC area. Like, that was the thing.
It resonated.
It felt like for me, it felt being there physically, outside of the news and everything around it and all of the talk. It felt like a very bipartisan event that was there for, promotion of these amazing fights and promotion and celebration of our fucking amazing troops. And
it looks like they enjoyed it.
I mean, I hope they did. It was this spectacular event. Like, I have no other words for it. The fights were amazing. Like, sometimes you think with those cards, you've got this great production. And
you're going to get snoozers, maybe. Not
a single snoozer. Just literally one of the most perfect events that's ever been put on.
I mean, even on fight night, right? Like and I mentioned that there was no real talk of, one party or the other being like, this shouldn't happen or this should happen. But there was constant discussion around the weather and the bugs and the heat and is the production going to hold up? Like, there were so many parameters or components rather that like could have made it more difficult for the fighters and the coaches and the cornermen to be like providing excuses. But there were none. You didn't hear, even in the post fights, you didn't hear any, well, fuck, it was hot or it was windy or it was rainy or the bugs or the lights or whatever. You heard none of that. It acted like an event in T-Mobile Arena in Vegas where it's tried and true. It's like clockwork. The UFC production crew, and Dana was talking about this before during fight week, that like his head of production, he kept saying was OCD. And it clearly shows because I didn't notice a fucking thing. It was unreal. The weather held out. The broadcast, because we didn't go to the fight, as I mentioned, I think had no hiccups. And that is not the case. I mean, even ESPN was notorious for hiccups. Paramount Plus has had their share. But like fight night, UFC 250, Freedom 250, zero hiccups on the broadcast. Loved that. Everybody, there was, your Ilia fans, your Gaethje fans, your Zahabi fans, your O'Malley fans, and that's standard, right? But like fight night, dude, was flawless. Absolutely flawless. I wish I could have heard the broadcast commentators a little bit more. I wish I could have heard Joe, J.A., and DC a little bit. But I have zero complaints other than the humidity in my fucking gout. I mean, the whole experience was sick. We met so many people.
I mean, just like the outpouring of like people in the community and fighters who wanted to be there too. I mean, we got to hang out with Mackenzie Dern and Dustin Poirier and, Mick Maynard was there and Sean Shelby was there. And we got to just like, everyone in the community just felt like, holy shit, this is a moment that like we can't not burn into our brain. Everyone felt like they were experiencing this and trying to soak every minute of it in.
We were at the Ellipse on Saturday and Volk did a live Cooking with Volk session on the stage. Senko was emceeing. That was sick. He's cooking up. He's giving food out to people in the audience. He's sprinting up and down the aisles. It was so sick.
I would have eaten the shit out of that steak sandwich.
I mean, we were standing way back in the crowd because one of the only other quarrels was that like the lines in the ellipse, like to get a beverage, were about a 40-minute wait. Kelly did wait in line for our memorabilia right here, as you see in the front of the 2-shot.
Yes.
We have a number 308 of 1,000 exact miniature replica of the belt that Gaethje won.
I would be lying if I said that wasn't a drunk moment purchase where I just saw it and honestly was like, I don't know. And then something clicked and I was like, I have to have it. I need to wait 2 hours in line to have this.
And you did.
And
you really did.
Like,
I committed because like we were sitting in the back kind of. Dust was doing, and a bunch of fighters that we know were doing meet and greets, which was sick. So we were kind of standing around, and a kid came by, and he had like the whole setup. Like it came in like a box, a beautiful box, and I love unboxing experience. It came and he showed it to us. I'm like, what is that? He's like, man, it's this thing. It was like fucking $300 or whatever, and it's like one of 1,000. They're only made for this event. Kelly's like, I'm getting it. And she got it. I love the determination there, by the way. Like we don't got a lot of memorabilia up here. I like to kind of focus my MMA experience on this sort of exchange, but we're gonna start decorating the studio when we're here. Which
we don't film a lot at home because you know.
I want to be in person.
You like to get in person, and sometimes that can mean that like the set looks a little like shit, but the conversations are so much better when you're in their face. You love to make a fighter cry.
It's kind of my thing. I've had everyone I've had on this podcast except 2 people have. That's Caruso and Camozzi.
I don't think that that Rob cried either.
No, but he was the only fight that I've done episode that I've done virtually.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But anyways, the experience of being in DC was remarkable. It was unprecedented. We had an amazing time. We met so many people, so many in the community, so many fighters. I really think that the UFC hit not just a home run, but a fucking grand slam on this thing.
Yeah, it really couldn't have been better. And I know that everybody in that production crew worked their asses off to make that happen. I hope they got a week vacation to just recover from all of that. But it was spectacular. Yep.
I loved it.
Let's talk about the fights, though, because outside of just a great production, the fights were exceptional.
7 stoppages. Dude.
It was wild.
You don't get that. We were talking about this a bit ago. Like, you don't get 7 stoppages on a fight card, which is half of what a typical fight card is, 14. You don't get that too often. The last card I can remember... And actually, it was this year. It was some random fight night card where they had 11 stoppages in a row. This just felt like, all right, we're going for it now. On top of the 400, 425, bonus.
I mean, you got fighters who were selected to fight at this event that was, historical.
And the matchups were good.
The matchups were good. The matchmakers did an amazing job picking, really
Shout out
excellent
to Mick Sean.
Matchups. But in addition to that, you have crazy bonuses. You're fighting in front of the president. You're fighting in the White House. Like, these guys were there to put on a show. And we're going to start with the main event and talk about the Gaethje fight first. But, like, these men were prepared to die in the ring.
It looked like it. And I'm going to say one more thing, too. Absolute fucking shout out to what I think is called the presidential or the president's band. They played live all of the walkout music. So we're talking about Johnny Cash for Gaethje. We're talking about Poetan's jungle saunter. We're talking about fucking Ilia's the song from fucking Desperado. Like, it's such a great fucking song. They did it all live. That's remarkable.
It was unreal. It was just it's weird for me to not have words to put in. Like, we've had so many people say like, well, how was it? Was it crazy? And I'm just like, I really have no words.
Kelly was saying earlier that maybe she thought X, Y, and Z could go wrong. I went into it a little bit differently, thinking I had no expectations. And I generally go into, as best as I can, any fight experience with no expectations. I just want to be reactive. Like, I feel like if I build something up in this sense, I'm generally let down. And it was so the opposite this time.
I mean, I thought that there was nothing that was going to be able to top Volk's walkout in Australia.
It's still close.
That was a crazy experience, and I was standing next to Volk during the press conference afterwards.
Yeah, we snuck into the presser. Well, we didn't even sneak in. They let us in because we were with several fighters. That was awesome. We were in the room.
It took
post-fight presser.
Everything in my body not to tell Volk that his walkout is like the most amazing thing I've ever seen. But I didn't want to seem like a fangirl, and it was also 4:00 in the morning.
P.S. Good for I was super late. Good for her on not being a fangirl. You're getting much better at that, by the way. I want to say that the growth is obvious.
I did sort of accost George after Gaethje's win, though.
George, Gaethje's BJJ coach.
Yeah, and like gave him an inappropriately long hug. Just like so pumped for them, so pumped for Gaethje.
I called him Jorge for about 30 minutes after we met him that night.
I know, you were convinced that there was no way that his Brazilian name was George, but it is.
It was definitely George. And George, if you're watching this, which you probably aren't, hope you're home to your family. It's been several weeks since he was. That was a sick experience. We were hanging out with Gaethje's crew beforehand, hanging out with his parents. The whole experience was unreal. We met so many good people. We saw every single fight was stellar. I just think that I'm going to be having a hangover on this for a long time until I see, obviously, another good fight.
Until we see UFC Moon.
Yeah, UFC Moon or Mars if, Elon and Dana via Joe get set up. But, like, the whole thing was amazing, and then it just culminated in my opinion, the best title fight I've definitely seen live. Well, we weren't there on Sunday night. We were, as I said, watching from Tom's. But that I have watched in the moment, best title fight I've ever fucking seen.
I mean, has Gaethje ever put on a fight that wasn't a fight of the year fight?
I mean, he has 2, and this is going to be number 3.
It was insane. Like, hats off to his team, Trevor Whitman, all the
Trevor's
coaches
the man
who came in with a game plan. I also just really think, I know we talked about this a lot before the fights too, because nobody gave Gaethje the credit that Gaethje is due.
Everybody says, oh, of course he's never boring. He's the most violent guy, but got no chance.
Yeah, no, nobody picked him except for Sanko. Another shout out to you, Sanko.
And Chiesa. I want to give Chiesa some props.
And Chiesa. I fully believed that Topuria had mentally blocked himself out of this fight. He said way too many things. Definitively, I'm going to finish him in the first round. That when those things didn't happen, he was going to have nowhere to go. Mentally, he was going to be broken. And I knew in my bones that Gaethje was going to have this fight. So much so that I bet on it.
One sizable amount of money, too.
Yes. But, I mean, like, I knew that this was for him. Gaethje goes in there like he is ready to lose it all. Like he is ready to die in that cage. And he put Ilia through the ringer.
Hell.
Ilia, if you look at the last 4 fights Gaethje has had, all of everybody's faces look terrible. But Ilia just, I think round 1 had a broken orbital. Round 2 couldn't see at all. Round 3 should have been doctor stoppage.
Round 4 on the stool.
Yeah.
Quit. It's an interesting thing when you see a fighter as dominant as Ilia, and I want to give him his flowers. Ilia's a savage. Ilia's technique, I think, is it's the creme de la creme. I believe that Ilia has the power, the technique, and he had the confidence to elevate him to what he was approaching, which was damn near GOAT status. However, when you start guaranteeing again, and not guaranteeing against, fives, sixes, fours, and I'm talking rank, but when you start guaranteeing against a man like Justin Gaethje, a knockout within 2 minutes, to your point, I want to double down on that. Like, I think that you paint yourself into a corner where it's like, the second that doesn't happen, you are now like, this isn't what I prepared for. And on the flip side, when you listen back to, the abundance of Gaethje's interviews, fight week and before, he was like, no, I'm ready to go in there. And he kept saying something I love. He's like, I have to be perfect to beat him. And in context of a fight, he was. That doesn't mean he didn't get hurt. He did. That doesn't mean he did things, he could have done better. He did. But perfection in the fight game means overcoming adversity despite the look. Like, it's not perfection in the form of like one of my favorite movies ever made, Forrest Gump. That is perfect, right? There were things wrong with Gaethje's fight, but the outcome, if you win when the odds are stacked against you, necessitates perfection, and that's what he delivered.
Well, and I think too, you could hear, like on Friday when we were at the press conference at the Lincoln Memorial, you could hear in Topuria's voice too that he was saying the things, but that level of confidence was sort of starting to crumble.
Diminished. Do you think that's because of the environment that was around him? He definitely got loud cheers, for the record, live.
Honestly, I think his cheers were louder than Gaethje's, and that pissed me off too.
She got real mad about that.
I mean, we were in the United States celebrating the Freedom 250 at the White House, and people were cheering for.
We were sitting with Dustin, and he's a good buddy of Gaethje's, and he's like, if these guys cheer louder for Topuria than they do for Justin, like that's going to be crazy to me. I won't say definitively that they did. I think Pereira got the loudest. But
a lot of love.
Yeah, but they weren't quiet. I mean, look, we can talk about it later, the comparisons of Topuria to McGregor and shit like that, but I think that Topuria was on that trajectory. And the difference between Topuria and McGregor, I don't know what it is anymore, because McGregor was on this rise, right? Featherweight belt. He was on top of the world. He didn't get the lightweight belt yet, but then he went and chased greatness and fought Diaz for the first time. But after that loss to Diaz, McGregor then went back and won the lightweight belt. But then he didn't fight again for 4.5 years. And then after that, he fought twice, and then he didn't fight again, or 3 times. Then he didn't fight again for 5 years. And now he's fighting again. We'll get to that at the end of the show. But, like, I think Topuria, the celebration before,
I think it set him up.
What do you think about that?
It set him up for failure. Like, that level of...
You celebrate victory the night before? God damn.
Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing that could have come... And you're fighting Justin Gaethje. To your point, you're not fighting, an unranked guy or this up-and-comer. It just... Everything about that felt wrong. And Gaethje took the mindset of, you're going to lose. You're going to embarrass yourself. Telling himself these things, which I don't think is good either, but it gives you that will when you're struggling, when you're getting pounded, to dig deep and fight more. And, Topuria took the opposite approach. So when he had those moments, he needed to dig deep.
But like seeing, dude, and let's not denigrate the performance of Topuria, right? Like, first round, 100% Gaethje's. Started with the piston of the jab when he fucked up his orbital. I think, and I'm pretty sure it's now confirmed, right? Like, first round, Topuria's right orbital busted, fractured. But second round, Topuria landed the nastiest body shots I've ever seen in any weight division. Crisp technique, so hard.
I mean, he had Gaethje hurt a couple of times.
Dropped him, but guess where Gaethje lives in his fight career? In fucking hell. And think about this, like, when you go to hell, do you want to be with a guy who has never been beaten, or do you want to be with a guy who's walked that path before? And Gaethje doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on himself, saying, we're going to go to hell, but I'm really fucking familiar with the environment. And Topuria wasn't. And does that mean necessarily that, like, Gaethje is the all things considered better fighter? I love the guy. I've met the guy. I don't know if the answer is yes.
I think the answer technically is no. Like, he's technically not a better fighter. Even when he was fighting Patty, there were moments where I was like, pull it in, guy. Like,
but we love fighting for that reason.
But that's why he's an exciting fighter. That's why even when Gaethje loses, they're the best fights of the year. And he had this one in the bag. I mean,
Gaethje makes a comment. Well, rather, he's made it once or twice before, wherein he says, I love my performance bonuses. He's got more since 2017 or 2018 than anyone in the UFC, and it's not fucking close. But he says when he gets a fight of the year candidate, that means he doesn't think he fought the best that he could. This was an absolute flip of that narrative, wherein he had fight of the year and he won. Because I do think, because it's been two or three fight of the years before that, it's been about 50%.
Well, what? Because it was his Chandler fight, his Max fight,
and his Michael Johnson fight.
Yeah, I mean,
he might have had one more with Eddie Alvarez, and he didn't lose that. Or maybe I'm confusing with Poirier, but that doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, his mindset is that, like, if it's a fight of the year candidate and he still gets performance of the night on top of the fight of the night, then it might mean he lost. But he didn't this time. He fucking won. And it was, I want to give so much fucking credit, obviously, to Luke George, wrestling coach Trevor, everybody. But I think the game plan that him and Trevor came up with was unreal. I mean, look, there's people far smarter than us that have analyzed it, and you can find all their content. But everybody wants to say Gaethje's not technical. And then sometimes they look at the Tony Ferguson fight. They look at the Rafael Viziev fight. And they're like, oh my God, he can be. In this fight, you would look at the strikes and you're like, it's such an obvious discrepancy that Topuria is perfection technique. But it didn't translate to victory. So I'm in awe of, and this is why I love this sport. I'm in awe of what determination and will can provide you in a fight. And that's what I love about football. And that's what I love about MMA. It's like any Saturday or Sunday, in the case of NFL, I guess now, fucking Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you can win. Monday. Or Monday. Really, anything but 6 days of the week for the NFL. You can win. And this is what drives me about this. It's because these men, these women, they put their life on the line. And when I talk to them in person, I always ask the question, like, what happens after that fight? What did it change about you? Did getting hit that way alter not just the trajectory of your career, but the perception of the way that you walk through life? God, dude, remove the politics. Fuck what we should have been spending money on. I got into the comments section on IG and YouTube about people bitching that, you know, this shouldn't have been happening. And I'm thinking like, oh, well, what about when the last guy was in office and it was fucking Pride Week and there were people showing their tits in front of the White House? Everybody was totally cool with that. That fucking bothered me, right? Like, because that was, and I support, you know, not necessarily showing your tits in front of the White House, but I support all that standed for during Pride Week too. But like, why? Because this is a violent sport. Are we losing the expression of artistry? Are we losing the expression of sporting? And the fact that, like, people put their life on the line. And I said something night of. Literally, man. I said something the night of the fight. And I was like, this motherfucker was reading the Declaration of Independence before he walked out of the Oval Office or whatever office he was in. I've never had a tour.
He was in the Oval Office.
Okay. When he walked out, he was reading that. He was reading what people fought for. Look, Topuria is not a national. Like, you know, I don't expect him to be looking around the White House in awe of it. But, like, Gaethje was fighting for the right reasons. So put the political narrative aside and just respect that the guy put his life on the line for himself, for his family, for his team. But most importantly, for fucking us. Like, that is hard hardcore. I don't know what's more fucking American than that. It's certainly not showing your tits in front of the fucking front lawn. I can tell you that. So, politics done. I can't believe that we live in a world where my 1A, 1B favorite sport was in front of in the back of the White House. Like, God damn, I'm getting amped up again. Like, this is why she's wearing a fucking American flag shirt. I'm wearing this. I've got family members through her who are armed forces. Seeing law enforcement and armed forces in, full effect in DC changed me. And this isn't politics. This isn't fucking, I'm not trying to lead you to believe one thing or the other. I'm just like, I respect it, man. It was beautiful. It was awesome.
And I'll just say before we move on to some of the other fights, as cheesy as it sounds, I wanted this so bad for Gaethje.
Fuck yeah.
Interim champ twice. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see it with Poirier before he retired, but he was cool. We talked with him for a while. We needed this. Justin needed this. Just so pumped for him that he got it. And I guess from my perspective,
not a more deserving American patriot to win the belt in that moment than him.
Also, just like a guy who is truly, when you think about hard work, and you said it, before, when you think about grit, when you think about all of the things that go into this,
emulates the sport.
Dedication of, not going out and partying and just
he doesn't.
being focused.
I've been on the course with him. The guy he doesn't live that life.
I'm so happy he got it. And, the Justin Gaethje fan in me will be so sad if that was the last Gaethje fight we ever see. But what a badass move it would be to just be like,
see ya.
Done. I'm retired.
Swan song. I'm out. You know who else did that? Habib. Ironically, when he beat Gaethje. The guy was at the top of his game. A little, obviously, I think 4 years younger than 6 years younger than what Gaethje is now. I think he was like 33 when he retired, or 34. But I just think that whatever he does, if it's see you later, love it. If it's take another fight, depending on who it is, love it. His career is now defined by that moment. What happens next could just further galvanize it. I don't think he's capable of tarnish at this moment. Like, unless he pulls, and look, this is no hate to him, to two guys really, like what Anderson went through at the end of his career, what Tony went through at the end of his career. Like, it's no hate on those guys, but just like DP said, man, and now that I've met him, I love that guy even more. You retire the sport. You don't let the sport retire you. And I hope Justin makes that decision appropriately.
Cheers. Congrats.
As always, we drink Malort in this house. Well, I drink Malort in this house. Kelly, I might get her to if there's a hot take in the future. I think there might be a hot take in the future. I'm going to manipulate that situation.
There's absolutely no chance I'm taking a shot of Malort. Your finest 2006 vintage.
2026 vintage.
Sorry, that's what I meant. 26.
I like to think that this was bottled 48 years ago by somebody's Ajima or Babchu, if you speak Korean or Polish. But it wasn't. It was brewed in the West Loop of Chicago.
About 6 weeks ago.
But it tastes fantastic. I'm never going to not give my flowers to Malort. Anyways, there was another fight. We had a massive parlay. You put about 1,800 bets in the fucking...
I went ham.
What do you bet on? I don't even think we bet on the same app anymore.
No, I moved over to MGM bets.
Well, we are MGM loyalists.
Oh, yeah, I'm an MGM member, so I moved over there. But... yeah, I mean, I took that crazy dog parlay that I put $20 down.
We dogged every fight.
Would have won 35 grand, but that's one of those.
I thought, was it 40 or 20?
I put 20 down and we would have won 35 grand.
Don't sit there and look at the screen and pretend like you would have done the same fucking thing if you didn't already. Because Kelly's favorite bet during NFL season is each team scoring a defensive or special teams touchdown.
1000%.
It's so stupid. It's happened once, maybe twice.
Yeah, but when it happens, it's fucking
Yeah,
glorious.
it's like putting 50 on your number on the roulette table and hitting it, and you're like, God damn, that was easy. Never happens again.
It just makes it so much more fun to watch.
Agreed. But she did have some ridiculous bets down. I think the hardest one to deal with from an L perspective was Poatan not getting his hand raised.
Yeah, that was a hard one for me. Poatan is, there in my top.
Four?
Honestly, the funny thing is there was several of my top favorite fighters either at the card or on the card this week.
Just give them the numbers. Tell them who it was. I mean, Chandler.
Well, Chandler was there.
He's still in there for you?
No, he's
Long
not.
in the tooth 40. We'll get to him, but
I wouldn't say he's like in my top, but man.
God, he
can
was
that
2 years
guy-
ago.
Yeah, that guy also puts on a great fight. Everyone knows he's tough. Let's see some
Techniques.
Let's see some.
Poatan, Chandler, Gaethje. That's, I'd say 3 of your top 7.
Sure.
I don't want to speak for you.
I mean, Volk was physically there.
So that's 4.
Yeah.
DP.
Poirier was there.
So that's 5.
Yeah, there was a lot of just really exceptional legends there. But getting back to Poatan, that was a hard loss. He just looked.
We just rewatched it before we started recording too.
He just looked like he wasn't there. Like he was hesitant.
He wasn't active.
He wasn't very active. I think he deserves a lot of credit because 2 years ago he was fighting at 185. I mean,
less than 3 years, yeah, for sure.
And now he looks like a heavyweight. He doesn't look like he got fat. He looks.
Well, he's
like
got as my son would say, a yacht.
He's got that yacht, that butt.
I don't even know what the fuck that means. Yacht.
His butt.
He's got a yacht.
He, I think like about 25 of those pounds went straight to his butt, and it's like
I'd say
great
50.
baseball butt.
It is a fantastic. I don't know what a baseball ass is, but
No, I wanted it for him. I thought he had it. I think Gunn, he looked like he was definitively winning anyway, but I think there was a bunch of illegal blows to the back of the head at the end that.
We said before we started recording that we didn't think that was going to change the outcome of the fight. Having rewatched it now for the second or third time a moment ago, I agree with that. And I'm going to stay with that mindset. Because Alex, he stood up for another minute after the drop and then the blows. But like, as anybody knows who watches the sport, as much as we do, one drop like that, you don't recover necessarily in a minute's time. And then those, if you look on social, the back of his head had these fucking hematomas all over it. So it was real. And I believe he's appealing the decision. And I don't know necessarily what that means. I don't know if by appealing what happened, he's fighting for a no contest, or if that means he's fighting for an official changing of the cards. I think it's defined by the commission where he fought. Either way, I think he might have lost the fight because the shot that dropped him and started the sequence was clean.
Was legal, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I really hope that this isn't the end of what we see with Poatan. I think he stays at heavyweight. He looks like a heavyweight.
I think he's got another fight in him.
He was still fast. I would love to see Volkov Poatan. I think that would be a great matchup. Another one of my favorite fighters, Alex Volkov.
Yeah. I asked you earlier who you think you would bet on and who you think you would win. Are you changing your mind now?
I'm not. No, I'm betting on
Pereira.
I was going to say
And
Alex.
you think... I should have rephrased the question. I apologize. I don't mean to interrupt. Who are you betting on? Who do you want to win?
I'm betting on Pereira. I want Pereira to win that fight. Wow. But Volkov comes in
Your favorite Russian, you're going against him.
My favorite Russian.
This is a bit of a hot take because I've not heard anyone in the last 5 days say that they think that for Pereira, that could be a next fight. And I think that you're hearing it here first. And we're going to get this episode out immediately. We're going to double on some of our episodes. But Enjoy the Molly episode that came out a couple of days ago, by the way. Meatball Molly. I think that we might be the first people to say that Volkov Pereira is the fight to make. And I certainly fucking hope that it happens because styles make matchups. That's a fucking stylistically beautiful fight. You've got a 6'7" guy in Volkov who's got, I think he weighs 259, 261 pounds. You've got Pereira with his gut. He's got fucking, a 1956 Cadillac in the back of his ass who can throw calf kicks for days. That's a hell of a fucking fight. I think we need to pump that up.
Yeah.
Clip that shit, editor, because that is actually the fight that needs to be made. And if it does get made, you heard it here first on Rear Naked Truth.
There you go. That's my call out.
And I think her bet's going to change, by the way. I think when she sees walkouts, when she sees embeddeds, she's going to be like, I can't bet against Volkov.
I just love them both so much.
Anyways, shout out to Gon. We've been talking about Pereira. We got to give credit to Gon. We just rewatched the fight, and DC said something that I want to pull in to hear. He said, Gon fights nothing but champions. And when he doesn't fight a champion or, a current or past, he beats him. So he deserves to be where he's at. And while the odds might have slightly favored Gon, maybe a little heavier in the lead up and then a little bit more pick 'em towards the fight night, I just think that, and this is me speaking personally, I kind of wrote Gon off a little bit. And I want to give him his flowers. I think that wasn't fair. And that guy's a fucking savage. And
he was fast. He looked fast.
He kind of reminds me of Topuria at heavyweight, but kickboxing heavier than boxing.
Yeah, I mean, Gon looked great. He did. I really want to see
him and Aspinall.
I want to see that get played back. I know you were saying that you think that could be a end of this year fight.
I think that because, look, Gon Pereira ended in the middle of the second round, seemingly other than a couple of pretty decent calf kicks by Poatan. Gon didn't take any damage. So he wants to be active. The Aspinall fight was over a year ago. I just think that if you're Gon, you've got the interim. You want to merge the belts. You want to get the undisputed. And if you're Aspinall, you've been on ice for fucking, 13, 14 months now. And who better to fight than who, poke the fuck out of your goddamn eyeball. So I want early predictions.
I think, I love Aspinall.
You're going to change your fucking mind. Normally you just said Aspinall.
I know. He'd never made it out of, this is the first, his fight with Cyril, even before the illegal eye pokes, he
made it out of the first.
They were getting out of the first round.
He was getting jabbed up a little.
That probably was tough for him. And I think Gon is fast and strong. And you've got Aspinall who's coming off of major injuries.
And he's agile, man. He's fucking nimble.
I know. You've got Aspinall who's coming off of major injuries, who's been on ice for 14 months at the time that he fights again. Longer, obviously. I don't know.
I'm going to still say that Aspinall gets that. Because
I would love to see Aspinall.
I think that Aspinall's got the one-hitter quitter power. I think that if you're saying who's the better complete fighter, it's probably Gon. And I don't know, though, that the fight against Pereira necessarily changes the argument against Aspinall winning. I just don't know, because you always have to take into consideration, fucking Pereira fought at 185, then he fought at 205, then he came up. So it's Aspinall has this sort of inherent, let me rephrase that. Gon has this sort of built-in, you weren't fighting a real heavyweight, because Aspinall weighs in typically around 261, 260. He's a big fucking guy. He's 6'5". He's fucking huge. I don't know. I can't put my money against Aspinall yet, but of course we'll see what, transpires. I really want to dig into O'Malley as a hobby, though.
Yeah, I mean, Zahabi's last few fights had unreal finishes.
7-fight win streak.
I thought this was going to be a really great fight. I thought that, this was the moment for O'Malley.
Did you not think it was a great fight?
No, I thought it was a great fight.
Oh, I thought by the way you were saying that you thought it would be better than it was.
No, I thought that it was going to be a great fight.
And it was.
And it was a great fight.
Yeah.
I was kind of torn with this one because we've seen Sean sort of, since he lost the belt, take a few L's.
Against only Merab.
Fair.
Who I met. Great fucking guy. Literally walking out of the hotel, getting mobbed. I kind of like busted through the mob and was just like, Merab, my guy. And he's just like, brother, good to see you. Like, it was sick. He's a really good guy.
Yeah, he's a man of the people.
Yes, he is.
But I'll just say, O'Malley had the potential to be on that track of, made it to the top, like sort of like Israel, made it to the top, was struggling to stay there. I think O'Malley is back. He was patient. I think he's coming back. I think he could make another run for the title.
I agree with you. And I think when you hear a guy say, I need a spectacular knockout, or rather just say it this way, I need a knockout to get back into the mix, because let's remember that O'Malley, and fuck what you think happened, he won. He was the number 10 guy fighting the number 1 guy. He beat Jan, and I like Petr Yan. He's an unreal fucking fighter. I think he never should have been removed from the top 10 pound for pound list. He's that good, especially after his defeat of Merab in the second fight. But I think this puts O'Malley in the running for the next Jan fight. But the problem is, it's kind of seeming like Jan and Merab are going to go again. So here's what I have. I want to raise this to you. This has happened in multiple divisions. I'll give you guys some examples. You see Moreno and Figueiredo at flyweight. You've seen Oliveira and pick your fighter at lightweight. You saw Strickland and whoever at middleweight. And then for a while, you were seeing Magomed and Alex Bajeda and maybe... No, that's it. That would be it at 205. So it's kind of like when you get these log jams at the top of the divisions and you see 2 to 3 fights between 2 to 3 different fighters, it gets boring to the casual. So I guess it's like, is that what we want to see? Do we want to see another Merab Yan fight? On one hand, if you think that the fights should be based on meritocracy, then yes, the answer is we should. But if you want to see fresh blood getting chances at 135 pounds, which is just chock full of fucking talent, I don't know.
Well, I mean, look at Josh Van. He got a chance to fight
Pantoja.
Well, before that, he got a chance to fight Royval.
Mm-hmm.
What was he? Wasn't even ranked.
14, I believe.
Okay, so ranked pretty low, or not low, but in the bottom 15. Beat Royval definitively. Mm-hmm. Pantoja.
Great fight, though.
Great fight. Pantoja, obviously, they're going to run that one back.
Yeah.
But, he definitively defended his belt.
Against the Japanese kid.
So, I mean, like, I do like the idea of giving these young fighters the opportunity. I think what is hard is if they don't take advantage of that opportunity and they get an L, are they then set up to be sort of pushed out and they got brought up too quickly? If he hadn't beaten Royval,
Van and O'Malley have some parallels, I think, is what you're saying, for sure. I think Josh Van, we've said this on the pod before, is one of our favorite fighters. I love what this kid brings. But I guess I want to raise this sort of general question, then we'll move on to the next fight of the card, is how do you feel about those sort of 2 to 3 rivalries that log jam the top 3 positions, including the champ, of a division. Do you think that's the way it should be? Or do you think that, you know, when you see a Dustin Poirier fight a Benoit Saint-Denis, or you see, you know, Josh Van fighting a Brandon Royval, or Sean O'Malley fighting a Petr Yan, do you think that guys should look back and let the new blood take a shot?
I have mixed feelings about this because, one, I do think for the casual, it can get boring to see these
Same
trilogies.
4 guys.
But I think there are reasons why a trilogy is fucking exciting to watch.
And makes sense.
At the same time, I think if you are calling yourself top 15, top 5, number 1 contender, you should be willing to fight anyone.
1,000% agree with that.
And we just saw that with who did we just see fight somebody like way lower than them, called out the fight, ended up being able to pull it off.
From the bottom of the top.
A top guy called out. Who was it?
I know it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I'll say it in a moment, but keep going with your thought process.
Anyway, I think he made a great point. If I am the best, it was Brennan Allen.
Yes.
Brennan Allen, if I think I'm the best, I should be able to beat anyone. He
that was a war, though,
words,
too.
And he fucking lived up to it. And
I think
that is true.
Edmund Shabazian.
Yeah. I think that should be the mentality as well of, like, you're taking a risk, but you're ranked at that level for a reason. You got to be able to hold it, and you got to be able to prove it. And I think, you know, Brennan Allen just...
I feel like also when you get let's call it a number 5 or a number 6 guy fighting a number 11 or a number 12 guy, and you win, like, that shouldn't just hold your position. That should fucking elevate you. Because when the number 11 or the number 12 guy, and by the way, Edmund Shabazian was one of the top 25 under 25 when he came out. He used to fight at Ronda Rousey's fight camp out in California. When you are that guy coming up, you're what the UFC wants to fucking steamroll. They want to expedite your fucking growth. In very seldom, in the instances that we just mentioned, does it succeed. But more often than not, it doesn't. But, like, if you are that guy, it means you're somebody. So sure, you know, you've got number 13 next to your fucking name, but that doesn't mean you've got number 13 skills. You could knock the fuck out of anybody. So I love the disparity of our sport. I love the fact that, as we saw, especially with Gaethje and Topuria, anytime, anybody, anywhere. And that kind of brings us to Derrick Lewis and Josh Hokett, wherein we've got unbelievably accomplished vet, most knockouts in UFC history at 18 in Derrick Lewis. And then you've got foul mouth, loud mouth, but fucking scrapper of a fighter, Josh Hokett. Look, don't love his post-fights. Sort of interesting on his pre-fights, but, like, when he gets into the cage, dude, boy can fucking bang.
Here's the thing. I get the idea of a persona. You've got, you know, Colby Covington had a persona. You've got Chael Sonnen had a persona. I get the idea of it. This is a
even
promotion.
Maybe Ilia has a little bit of a persona.
Sure. You are trying to sell a fight. You're carrying this character so that you can get
eyeballs.
That moment. Pick your fucking character at least. This whole
he did feel like
schizophrenic. I'm 9 different people.
Did you see the memes about, like, Split?
It was
like with James McAvoy.
It doesn't work for me, and honestly,
it did nothing for you.
I can appreciate, like, the Hulk piece that he's doing, and, like, I'm this angry person, just like I can appreciate Colby Covington being a complete
heel.
Yeah,
Ric Flair-ish.
But this schizophrenic thing that he has going on, it makes me hate him as a fighter. It's cheap. It's cheesy. Like, yes, he's got the skill and he's got the talent. And
Let that speak for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have to be this, like, you know, little child that's speaking every moment of the press conference, or, you know, pretending to throw up on yourself with applesauce.
Like oatmeal or applesauce in your mouth.
Also, like all of the, the Instagram stuff and the fake news
The
that's coming
Obama
out
shit
about
that he said too.
Well, no, they're like, oh, that's what happens when you have a hard weight cut. He's fighting at heavyweight. He was not fucking cutting weight. Get off of the hype train. I can't get behind it.
I want to make a comment about something, and we typically, we don't really, like we said earlier, we don't dig into it. We will provide you guys the climate that we experience and try to state how we believe the fights overcame the narrative surrounding the climate. But in this instance, Hokit made that comment about, Michelle Obama and his post-fight victory speech with Rogan in the cage. What I'm thinking is like, I really don't think you needed to say that. And I don't know that it necessarily drives the sport forward. Now, I love that Dana lets his fighters say what they're going to say because he believes in the Second Amendment, blah, blah, blah. But First Amendment, fine. We've been drinking a little bit. I'm sorry.
Maybe the Second Amendment too, but
I think he believes in both, but we're talking about the first. But my point is this. It's like, I don't know that what makes me mad is that out of the entire event, which was beautiful sporting, it was beautiful athletics, it was amazing production.
People who fucking wanted to be there.
People who worked hard, not just in the fight, outside the fight, as we've said. But my point is this. It's like, because Hokit made that comment, now we give fuel to the fire of everyone thinking that this was a waste of the government's time to allow it to happen. And that's one guy out of, 356 that like tarnished or potentially tarnished the extraordinary aspect of the event. And it's like, I think
it just wasn't necessary. It wasn't fucking necessary. I know, like, I'm not.
But it didn't serve anything.
Right. I'm not easily offended. I'm not saying that I'm like.
If he said it in front of me, I wouldn't correct him. I wouldn't laugh. I'd just be like, all right.
Yeah, we're not some woke group of people, but just like, come on, you have to have something better to say.
Like, that wasn't even funny.
Yeah, no.
And everybody got pissed at Rogan for laughing at it. But remember. And like, I saw this fucking chick and I commented on it, and I've been deep in the comments and replies. This chick that was on The Bachelorette, Rachel Lindsay, she made a comment about like Josh Hokit saying that and how terrible it was and how horrible the event was and yada, yada, yada. Like, I get why you said that, Rachel Lindsay. I watched your season of The Bachelorette. I really fucking liked you. I just think that, like, have problem with what he said, have contention with the words that came out of his mouth, but don't try your best not to fucking label the sport that he fights under because of what he said. I just think that it's not fair to the men and women in the sport who really are unreal people and who the purpose of our podcast is centered around. That's the end of that. I don't want to spend too much more time on that.
I will say, though, love me some Black Beast.
God, I just think he's a little old.
I mean, he's getting old. I thought...
He didn't look interested in the fight.
He really didn't. He looked like he wasn't either feeling great or feeling well. I also think...
He didn't look out of shape, though.
He didn't, actually. He looked pretty good in shape. But he is getting old. He's had a lot of fights. I think, from my perspective... I thought if he could get it done in the first round, he could get it done. But if it went to the second round, it was going to be
everybody
tough.
Agreed with you, too.
And I don't know. I mean, that Curtis Blades Hokit fight was insane.
That was crazy.
A great fight.
Yep.
I love me some Derrick Lewis. I don't want to give...
Never going to get off that train.
Yeah. I don't want to give Hokit the credit because...
Yeah, but who do you think Hokit fights next?
I really don't know.
Because Pereira's name was getting tossed into that mix. And I don't think that's it. Although Hokit is on a run, 10-0. 10-0.
I don't think Pereira even entertains the idea of that fight.
No, I don't think he does either. A Volkov Hokit fight would be interesting. Like, literally, you've got like the Burj Khalifa versus, name your 8-story building in whatever city. It's like,
Yeah.
that could be a crazy fight. And you'd obviously love your Russian on that fucking fight.
I don't know.
I kind of am going to double down on that. Fuck yeah. Volkov Hoket? The tower versus the fucking shorter man?
I don't know. I don't even really like thinking about him. He's just.
You don't want to give him the time on the pod?
No.
All right. Well, then let's spin gears over to Hoofy Chandler.
I thought for real that this was a moment for Chandler. Chandler is tough. He just is sloppy. He's a sloppy fighter. And I thought...
You don't want to say that, though, do you?
I don't want to say it. I really don't want to say it. But I think he focuses on putting on a good fight versus winning a fight.
Yeah, but this wasn't a good fight.
And it wasn't a good fight. I thought, hey, he's at the White House. This man is fucking patriotic. This is going to be his moment. I really did think that he was going to pull it off. I mean, Hoofy is a really great fighter.
He's a showstopper.
And he had it in the bag. And I think, like, Chandler lost that fight for himself.
You want to talk about the future of the lightweight division. You want to bring up things that Ilia Topuria has said in the context of the next generation, or rather the new generation. I think Hoofy is the new generation, but interestingly enough, he fights like the old generation in Conor.
He looks like Conor when he fights.
Not in his mannerisms like Topuria, but the way he just bounces on that lead leg and he waits, and his patience and his power and precision.
I mean, he let Chandler beat himself.
And then just fucking wheel kick. Okay, you guarded that one. Wheel kick again. And then fucking dropped him. And look, I got so much love for fucking Chandler. God, dude, his fights in Bellator were some of my favorite to watch. And when he made it to the UFC...
I mean, that first Dan Hooker knockout.
And I love Dan Hooker. I didn't like watching it, but...
Kick.
Like, he's the man, but like let's be honest about something, dude. He's like 2-6 in the UFC. And I watched his he put out a video today. I didn't like it. I think he's still willing to fight again. I think Chandler's an amazing man, and he was a fucking epic fighter, and he entertained us for years. In the UFC, outside of the UFC, he's such a great father and a husband. I want to see him focus on that. And I think he's clearly got a fucking career on the mic, in front of the camera. Like, there's no shame, dude. I know you're a competitor. Just compete in something else for a little bit. And I can't say that. You can't say that. But, like, I like the man as a human too much, which is what this pod is all about. Expression of humanism. Outside of the sport, but in the guise of the sport. I want him to maybe hang him up. I kind of get a little sad saying that too.
I know. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. I agree. I think he's a fucking awesome dude. Obviously we've never met him, but I love seeing his family moments. I love watching his career.
We met his wife on the street.
We saw her.
Yeah. I said, "What's up?"
But I don't know. He's tough. Of course he's tough. He's great. But, like, I want to see him fight smarter. If he stays in, I want to see him just hold back a second and fight smarter, because he's got the power. He's definitely got the toughness.
He's in shape.
He just...
Look at the guy.
I feel like he jumps the gun. He tries to get
Yeah,
a
but
knockout.
this fight kind of exposed him a little bit. And I think it is maybe what you're driving at, a little factor of, look, dude, Hoofy is a sniper. He looks like
champion.
Doesn't need to look like Israel Adesanya at lightweight.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I think Hoofy's the real deal. I think he's a future champion for sure.
100%. But I do think that, like, not like, look, dude, Chandler was like 11 on this fight. He's going to be outside of top 15, man. Like, that's not what I want to see for a guy with his accolades, with his legend, with his ethos. Like, dude, don't let it take you, Mike. Like, Iron fucking Mike, man. Your legacy on the sport is so solidified. Like, Don't go down that route. But like, who am I to say? Who are we to say anything
when he
to a
takes
fighter?
another fight, I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna be excited to watch
I'm gonna watch every fight he takes.
He's a exciting fighter to watch. I just, I hate seeing
A man that I think
and,
like if we met him and knew him, I'd be like, I want to be friends with this guy. And if I were friends with him, as I am with some fighters, like I would say it. Like if one of my best guys fucking dust, like if I felt like he was going down the tubes when we were in face to face, I'd be like, man, maybe think about that. But, it's not our place to say that. We wish Chandler the best. Good man, great, legendary fighter. And then you talk about fucking up-and-comer like Bo Nickal getting just another fucking victory, dude.
I have to say something. I think that there's something to be said about the blonde hair. You lose. You bleach your hair, you fucking lose.
He didn't bleach his hair. His hair was that color.
I know, but
And he shaved his head.
No, I'm not talking about Bo. I'm talking about
Dawkins. Kyle Dawkins.
I don't know if that's his natural hair color, but
no, it wasn't.
Yeah, that when you bleach your hair, you fucking lose.
Charles Oliveira would disagree with you.
He's maybe the only one that it hasn't been true.
Do you know why? Dude, that's like a kind of a wrestling thing. Like when I graduated 19,000 years ago, I went to a college, or rather a high school in Illinois here that is nationwide renowned for having the best wrestling team in single A wrestling, and it's single A and double A.
You weren't on that team.
Certainly not. Do I look like a fucking wrestler? No.
I'm just for the record.
If we're being completely honest, I look like a podcast host, and I'm barely that.
Yeah.
So
we'll get there.
We'll get there. Thanks for.
Hang in there, champ.
Appreciate it, bud. Anyways, I went to a school where we had multiple 4-time state champion wrestlers, 8-time in a row championship wrestling teams. They all did that. I think it's a combat sports thing. All
right. Well, I'm going to say this. Look at our good friend Cody Brundage in Australia. Bleached his hair, lost. Then look at the next.
You're going to throw fucking Cody shade like that?
No, I'm not, because then look at the next fight that he had where he fought.
I'm sorry, Cody and Bobby.
I'm saying I think that it was the hair. That's the thing, because then
Cody's gonna put you in the fucking broom closet when we stay at their house next time.
He's not gonna watch it, so it's okay. He doesn't watch this show. But then he goes on and fights. What's his face? Andre Petrosky, who bleaches his hair and he fucking destroys him. I'm telling you, stop bleaching your hair. You're not Oliveira. This isn't a message to Cody. This is a message to fighters. It's a bad omen. I think it's a bad omen.
Kelly Meisgeyer said it here.
I said it here.
So it's gospel.
I think it's a bad omen.
I don't think it fucking matters. Do whatever you want with your hair.
I disagree.
Anyways, that fight was interesting because, again, in our parlay. And look, I'm going to be super transparent here. I thought Dawkins coming back in for his second stint was a man on a mission. I thought that he was going to come out and starch the fuck or sub the fuck out of Nickal. And I'm going to give Nickal his flowers right now. I've not been a big Bo Nickal fan, regardless of his ridiculous Penn State wrestling accolades. The guy is evolving as a fighter, and not only is he evolving as a fighter, he's learning how to strike. He's got several fucking 2, potentially 3 fight knockout streak going right now. Kid's on the up. What they thought he could be, he's turning out to be. You got a guy in Dawkins coming in, in his second stint that was a little plated for him. But Nickal can only fight who's in front of him. And I stand by that. So, Bo Nickal, congratulations on that win. You're climbing. You're fucking climbing. And the way that he's evolving his game, it's nothing but positive for him, dude. I can't say anything bad about the guy, dude. And he's a great dude. You know what I mean? Like, really, really good dude. I think that I just wasn't a fan of his fight style, but it's looking to change.
Well, and it was hard in the beginning, too, because he's one that I think the UFC sort of, like, put on that pedestal and sort of
maybe that's why we have
handed
these.
him fights that like he was sort of destined to win. Like they sort of made him out to be like, okay, we're gonna make you this star, and I think we've been a little resistant to that.
We'll see if that happens with Gable Stevens, and if it's very similarly, Olympic gold medalist, multiple time D1 national wrestling champion, largely considered at his weight class the best wrestler of the last fucking decade or better, and now an MMA fighter, and had nothing but wins coming into the UFC. Obviously, Dana signed him a couple of months back. So I'm wondering if they serve on a platter stylistic matchups for Gable in the realm that they did for Bo Nickal. We'll see. Well, Gable's coming in at a heavyweight, though, so it's a totally different thing.
I mean, I do agree with you, though. I think Bo is evolving. I think the fact that his striking is becoming so much stronger and not like his wrestling is actually taking a back seat to his MMA career.
In the last 2 fights, it has.
Yeah. So, I mean,
he deserves his fucking flowers, man.
I agree.
But we got to talk about your fucking boy.
My boy Diego. Oh,
Diego Lopes, Steve Garcia. Interesting first round. Very interesting first round. I think Diego, if I can make a comparison, when he goes into the fire, when he embraces the chaos, is sometimes, to quote True Detective, sometimes your worst self is your best self. And that is the case in instances with Justin Gaethje. And it is certainly the fucking case with Diego Lopes, because the first round, Garcia was piecing him up a little bit, and then Diego was waiting. He wasn't doing his, sort of frenetic engagement in the sequences. And then second round, that shit went to the wayside.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little hard for me to see Diego as the first fight on a card. Honestly, like that.
Coming off a guy who fought Volk 2 times in a row.
Right. That was a little surprising for me. But honestly, great fight. This was one that was hard for me as an American because I want to root for my people, but I love me some Diego Lopes.
Can we talk about the fucking presser where he clearly responded to fucking the I don't know if it was Bonner or Bronister or whatever, whoever the fucking reporter was. He responded to the question in English, and then they asked another question. Dana's like, whoa. Let the translator go. And he's like, the fucking reporter or the translator was like, no, he speaks English. He goes, that was English? Oh, that was fucking ridiculous.
I mean, to be fair, he usually doesn't.
We were going to have him on the pod. And he lost, so he didn't want to talk. But
I mean, I still think there's a chance. I love Diego. I think he's an awesome person. I couldn't believe he was the first fight on the card. I think he was patient, and it was like just a beautiful culmination of him winning. And also, I think you were saying he was fighting. He was, doing some wrestling training with like the Oklahoma State team.
He lived in Oklahoma for 2.5 months leading up to the fight. And if you watched Embedded, you heard about that. But like, not only was he like, just, I think the first reaction for me was, oh, he's getting used to the humidity. Because if you've ever been to fucking Oklahoma, the humidity is stupid and the bugs are nasty. But he actually was a part of the Oklahoma State University wrestling team. I don't know this for certain, so forgive me if I'm wrong. But in the Embedded, I saw the coach saying, oh, no, Diego's on the fucking team. I think the head coach of OSU might have been cornering him. Like, that's fucking awesome. Like, a guy from Brazil who trained in Mexico, who fights in North America, like coming to fucking the States to Oklahoma. Like, if you're from fucking Brazil, like, you've never heard of Oklahoma. This motherfucker does his homework. He's like, and he's a grappler, and everybody gets mad because he doesn't grapple enough because he's so exciting. He did that, and then what did he end up doing? Knocking the fucking guy out.
Hey, when you're prepared with your wrestling, I believe truthfully that it gives you the confidence to be able to stand on your feet also.
I mean, case in point, Justin Gaethje. Like, Ilia Topuria did not out-grapple Justin Gaethje. And everybody's always like, gee, he doesn't use his wrestling. To the untrained eye, he doesn't use his wrestling. But when somebody shoots in on him or somebody, tie clinches or puts him up on the cage and, grabs the back of his head, collar tie, like that is still fucking wrestling technique. That's grappling technique. Like you don't have to, blast double somebody to show your wrestling prowess. And I think that Gaethje and Diego, they're prime examples of that.
I agree.
I mean, I think we'd be remiss not to finish out the last quarter of this fucking episode with a discussion around my favorite fighter, Max Holloway, and one Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I'm going to say, I think...
To the fight, because...
Great fight card.
I love that.
Everyone...
We got less than a month.
Can't wait for that. But I'm going to say something that I think is a fair statement, that Chandler waited for that McGregor fight it put him on the, an ice box for so long. I think that partially has been a reason why his career, he put his career on ice for 2 fucking years.
I think that's a great point,
to try and fight McGregor, and then they give it to Holloway. And don't get me wrong, I love Max Holloway. I know he's your favorite fighter, and I'm excited to see McGregor back, but that felt like a low blow to me. If I were Chandler...
To who?
To Chandler.
But, Chandler took the White House card. He got what he wanted. Like, he got exactly what he asked for.
2 years later, he could have taken fights in between. He could have been staying warm. He was...
So do you... All right, let me flip the outcome and ask you another question now, because hindsight's 2020. Do you think, let's say, I'll give it enough time, 4 months ago, if Chandler could have fought Hoofy on the White House or McGregor on International Fight Week, what do you think he would have chose?
I think 4 months ago he would have chosen the White House, but I think 2 years ago, before the White House was announced, if you told him that he was going to wait 2 years and still not fight McGregor, that he would have taken a separate fight.
I don't agree that it sucks, and I do agree. I'm sorry, I don't disagree that it sucks, and I do agree that Chandler should have gotten something. Chandler made that decision. He's a grown-ass man, and I think... in the initial decision making of him waiting for the Conor fight, I agree with that logic. But then when he kept waiting as long as he did, and then when he got put on the shelf, it's just kind of like, look, only Michael Chandler can answer, and I think he has in one way or another, why he did that. But like, he got on what he wanted to get on. He got his fucking paper. He didn't get the outcome. But, like...
I'm just saying, I think we would be remiss not to acknowledge the fact that he held off fighting for several years, waiting for that fight. And I'm not a fighter, but I think if you are out of the game... Obviously, he's training. Obviously, he's doing things. But
he's clearly in great shape.
If you're not in the ring, the cage, if you're not... actually experiencing that game time moment, I think that is I think that's something that should be considered as impactful.
Couldn't agree with you more, but I'm gonna say that, like, causation, right? Like, decisions have consequences, and he played a card, and you as a gambler know that you play one way and there's outcomes, and there's a lot of outcomes, and I do think that the end outcome net benefited him. I don't think he's in the red, but to your point, do I think it detrimented the legacy of his career? Might have.
I don't even think the legacy of his career.
I think he could have had more wins.
For sure. I think he could have taken other fights. I think if he had hindsight been 2020, if they said, hey, this fight's never going to happen, I think he would have taken 1 or 2 fights before this White House card. And he still would have been on the White House card because there's very few fighters that are more patriotic and American than...
And a company man.
Right.
And I don't mean that in the negative sense. I mean that in nothing but, praise for him.
Anyway, back to Max, Conor. Fuck yeah, I'm excited about it.
What do you like?
Max.
Yeah?
Yes. 1,000% Max. And also, I'll say this, I'm not putting shade on Oliveira, but Max is still, in my mind, the BMF champion.
That wasn't a BMF fight.
That wasn't a BMF fight. Like, I could lay on somebody for an hour and win. I mean, if they weighed less than me.
If we stop recording, you can fucking do that. Sorry.
I'm just saying, I think McGregor has been out too long. I also think McGregor is focused on things that aren't fighting, as he should be. I think Holloway is... Okay,
I've got things to say.
I think Holloway is a beast. And yes, he got knocked out for the first time by Topuria, but I don't think McGregor's got that in him.
I want to say this. I'm going on the record. Obviously, everybody who's watched our episodes knows that Max is my guy. He's my fucking ride or die. The best is blessed. And I think the money is on Max. My heart is on Max. But I'm a little concerned.
I'm not at all.
Because I've seen some of the interviews of late. I've seen some of the footage of late. Conor's starting to talk, and more importantly, he's starting to act like the Conor of 2015. And that Conor, I wouldn't ever pick against. If there's a semblance of that Conor beat Max. Granted, it was Max's debut. Max was barely 21 years old. Or maybe even 20 years old. But point being, if you get Conor that looks like 75% of who he used to look like, that's a little scary. 75% of prime Conor is a very dangerous prospect still.
I'm not saying that he's not a dangerous prospect. I'm saying one thing about Holloway that I always have to remind myself of is he's not that fucking old.
No.
He's been in the game for a long time, so it feels like he should be this 38
unk status.
Yeah, he's not.
He's not.
He's in his fucking prime.
I don't know at time of fight.
Sorry I'm getting heated about it because...
No, you're talking about my favorite fighter. I think at time of fight, Max will be either 34 or 35. That is pure physical peak. And Max now is fighting at 170. And we've seen Max at 155. Charles Oliveira notwithstanding. But, I think that... do I think Max is going to win? Yeah. Do I want Max to win? Yeah. But I'm being unbearably vulnerable in saying this. A win from McGregor is so goddamn good for the sport. It's so good for us. It's so good for everything. To see that and then a win over Holloway, babe, inserts Conor into this mix where you might see...
He's not going to fight again, though.
He's got another fight on his contract. He's got one left.
Had 2 fights on his contract for 6 years.
You're not wrong, but he also said that some weird shit about that they only want Conor to fight again after July in next April. And he's like, what the fuck? He was on Arrow Hawani 2 days ago. He's like, why would you make me sit that long? He's like, I want to be active. And the way that, and I'm going to sidebar here, the way that the UFC, granted, dealing with the spectacle that is Conor McGregor and getting him to fight has been probably the bane of their fucking promotion. But getting, fights for McGregor isn't always fucking easy. And you think it would be the easiest decision in the world when he says, yes, sign me up. You book it. Sign the fucking agreement. But if what he's saying is true, and he fights Max Holloway on International Fight Week, and then they don't want him to fucking step foot in the cage again until April of 27, dude, I don't understand the logic behind that.
I guess I don't either. I don't understand that. But I'm not a UFC company person. I don't understand the intricacies. I'm sure there's a lot of politics behind it. I'm sure.
Well, there's scheduling, I think, is really what
Sure.
we're talking about. Like,
sure.
I don't know that it's necessarily like politics or you know when McGregor's on the card, it's historic numbers. History shows it. So like in my mind, it's like, okay, you've got November booked for the numbered event. You've got December booked for the numbered event. Don't you fucking push it? And again, like, didn't have the opportunity to ask Sean or fucking Mick this question when I saw him the other day, but like, not that they'd fucking answer anyways, but like, money wise, Paramount wise, it would behoove you to fucking put McGregor on as many cards as you can fucking get. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that I have the means to intelligently comment on that. Other than I want Max to win. I think Max is going to win.
What do you think happens if Conor wins? Humor the possibility, because everyone had fucking Justin gone. Save us, save a couple of people, save, his family who are amazing. Like, everyone had him out. And we were just spending fucking an hour and a half talking about how this sport's insane.
And I have the same confidence in Holloway that I had in Gaethje. I don't think it's a question.
But I'm not asking you to have the same confidence. I'm asking you to have the same realistic.
I don't know what happens if Conor wins, because to your point, he's got one more fight. Who is it? I don't know who it is, because
if he beats Max, it's top 5.
But he's not chasing a belt at this point.
He said he was.
All right, well then.
He said he'd humor that, because Ariel asked him that exact question. He said, what are we looking for past this? And he goes, like, is a belt something you'd be looking for again at 170 or 155? And he's like, absolutely. Yeah. He's like, I would absolutely entertain an opportunity at the belt. Yeah.
Yeah, he also entertained.
That was a nasty impression I just did right there, actually. It was pretty decent.
You're great at accents.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know who else does he fight? I mean, this is
5 years.
Yeah.
To the day. Either way.
I mean, his last fight was DP and he broke his leg, yeah?
Nasty.
So
one of the worst breaks, top 3 in history of the sport.
Well, you got Chris Weidman and
Anderson Silva
taking,
and he was and Connor's is number 3. But look, we've talked about a lot tonight. We love you guys. We love the viewership. We love the engagement. Check out the video we posted a bit ago with Meatball Molly. We were with Molly in Vegas. She came out. She's a good friend of the podcast now.
Spent all weekend with her.
She's got a fight coming up in September in Dublin, Ireland. We're going to be there. She invited us to come to that. So we're going to go there, talk to her, experience that. It's obviously in boxing. That's unreal for her. It's going to be on Katie Taylor's apparently retirement card. So we're going to be more on time, on point with you guys moving forward. You're going to be getting more regular content. We hope you continue watching. We love that you guys see this shit. This is a bit of a, more sporadic episode for us. We really value having the fighter, having the coach, whatever, in front of me. But we love hearing what Kelly has to say.
But sometimes I have smart things to say also.
Kelly always has smart things to say. She is the brains if I am the muscle.
And we got to have some filler content.
I love you guys. I love you. That's our pod. Check in next week.
Cheers.